From
Michigan.
Detroit. Yeah, moves are made. Hands are shook. Money exchange hands. Possibly drugs.
It was all good. It was all in the name of fantasy
football.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dynasty, where, like I said, you don't see things different.
Woo! I just had, tasted like a root beer, but now I'm feeling a little tipsy.
Judges.
Somehow this is funny.
Judges. Riding that unicorn, my friend.
That's sexual.
I was about to do this awful Mexican accent, but then I realized how stupid my voice sounds, and then I didn't do a Mexican accent. Because my voice is just too much on its own, you know. Welcome to the Dynasty Football Podcast. I'm not Pete Livingston.
And I am not whoever the hell else buffoon he brings on the show for a week.
Instead, we are podcasting about
live
half an hour north of Detroit,
from
Michigan.
Detroit.
This is Pat, owner of the Houston Oilers. Oilers is spelled like Leonard Euler, famous 1700 mathematician. Somehow that was funny at the time I developed a team name.
Was that freshman year or sophomore year?
I think it was last year.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. That's a little...
Before that, it was a Javid Best reference, which was more outdated than Oilers math.
That's okay. My first team name was Favre from retiring. So...
Who retired first, Favre or Javid Best?
I think Javid Best.
But Favre kept coming back.
That's my point.
But then Best kept trying to come back, but then
he just said screw it and joined the Olympics because why not? For who did he? Some random island?
Some really weird island in the It was that one where those British people went on a honeymoon and got shot. Because let's represent them in the Olympics. That's national pride.
That's what we wanna hang our hat on.
Yep.
So. I am Scott Bentley, the owner of Team Free AP, because it's bullshit that he's not in the league. So that will remain my team name for a very long time.
Funny that our league bans AP from being owned by any team because he beat his child, allegedly.
But half the league beats their wives, and we don't ban them. So apparently...
Hilarious double standard. Yeah. Children matter, but women don't.
Right. Women's lives matters, guys. They do.
We even have a woman in the league, Brienne.
Yeah. How does she feel about
team
that?
Later, as well as everybody others.
Yeah,
teams.
everyone's gonna hear.
We're just gonna go off tonight.
It's not gonna be pretty.
We're not on the podcast often, but when we are just gonna
we make shockwaves.
Shockwaves.
All right, who do you want to do first? We're gonna go by team here. Break every team down in every aspect of their team. So we're gonna do keepers, some draft position. Predictions, kind of a review from last year where they stood, predictions for next year. We're going to do everything. We're going to do it by team. So that's how we're going to break it down, yeah?
Yep, that sounds good. First up, Nate Silver's Sith.
So this is probably the worst team in the league. No, I'm kidding. This is Elliot, our commissioner, who refuses to let AP in the league. So last year... Where did he finish last year? This doesn't look like Yahoo. That girl's high as hell. Holy shit.
That's LeVar Ball.
That is not LeVar Ball.
Oh, that's a white girl. They're basically the same thing.
I am wearing a Big Baller Brand t-shirt, just so everyone knows, and I have not seen Pat all day, and literally right when he looked at me for the first time when I showed up on his doorstep, he just started laughing and said, "Wow, nice shirt." It was the first thing he noticed, so... I just want that to be known. I am rocking a blue, white, and gold Big Baller Brand t-shirt. Because hashtag LeVar versus everybody.
I'm wearing a Detroit City FC shirt, semi-professional soccer, of all things that are popular.
Yo Soy Fiesta won the league?
Yeah, remember?
Oh, right. That was a huge thing. Right. Because Clit didn't win it.
Yeah, and then I didn't even make the playoffs.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
Wow. Remember when we used the... No, Joe. No one cares about what you think. Okay. Standings. This is what
That's
I want.
what we want.
All right. Okay, so we're going to pick up now.
6th place finish. So that's a mid-table finish.
Yeah, so we look at our commissioner. Finished in 6th place. 6-8, 3-3 in his division. 1,430 points scored and 1,500 points against.
So that's a negative differential. And you look at the streak, he lost 3 ending the year.
Yeah,
he also lost 2 games to Pete.
So, wow, okay, so he was 6-5 with 3 games to go and ended up being 6-8.
He choked more than Aroldis Chapman's girlfriend at the end of the year.
Wow, he choked a lot. That is a hell of a choke job. Okay, so 1,430 points scored, that's very middle of the road.
It's just an overall middle of the road team.
1,521 points against is second highest in the whole league, though. So luck was definitely not on his side when it came to that. But he was middle of the road in points scored, thus his 6-8 record last year.
So now if we look at his keepers...
Okay.
No one too spectacular, but he does have some good choices in there. Spencer Ware.
Yeah, Spencer Ware for, what is that, a 12?
Yeah, 12th round pick, and he is RB2.
Yeah, I'd say.
He is the starter in KC. That could change, because, KC likes to change their running backs from...
They also have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, they're kind of like Yahoo, no business model. But, Spencer Ware should be a nice, solid keeper. He also has Charles Sims. That's not really doing anything. 11, not really. Devontae Booker.
Jordan Reed for a 9. Why is he on the PUP?
He's Jordan Reed. He's always injured.
That's valid.
Actually, as of yesterday, he injured his toe.
Oh, okay. Well, he'll still keep him for sure. That's a top 10, probably top 5 tight end right there.
Devontae Booker for a 3rd. Now that's interesting.
Yeah, that's close. That's really close.
So I think Elliott's one of the teams who, as of now, has entered his keepers in.
Yes, he's one of 2. It's him and Douchebag.
Yes, Robin has entered his keepers in.
Yeah.
Elliott did not keep Devontae Booker. He did keep Jordan Reed for 9. That's a solid. It's always nice to have that tight end spot filled.
Yeah, especially for that late of a pick. We won't have to worry about getting that tight end for forever.
And then Jonathan Stewart. So his running backs are Jonathan Stewart and Spencer Ware. So what's weird about Jonathan Stewart is Christian McCaffrey's in the picture.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
I don't know what's going to happen there.
Neither do I. I'm not sure. What are they going to use McCaffrey as? Is he just going to be a return man?
Running back? I have no idea.
He'd be a screen, like a dump-off guy?
He's so odd. Plus, he's a projected 2nd rounder in our league.
Yeah.
He could be
our league is
Shane
very
Vereen.
thin. Very thin league. Wow. Okay, so that's kind of I don't see any, besides Jordan Reed, I don't see any huge standout keepers. I mean, Spencer Ware, too, I guess.
But the thing is, Jonathan Stewart and Spencer Ware can't hold up a running back position on their own. He'll need to draft a running back.
So what's his draft position?
His draft, well, if you look at his draft strength by adding up all of his draft picks round 1 through 10.
Which, this does make sense for those of you who don't get it. I don't know how else to... It completely makes sense. You're just not 100% right up there.
He has the second weakest draft, rounds 1 through 10.
Second weakest.
So when you look at the fact that he will have to fill the holes around players like Spencer Ware.
Right. And he has the 4th overall pick? Is that right?
Yes. He wanted to pick the wraparound, but then Tahir got it before him for no reason.
Yeah, that's we'll get into that in a minute. That was really stupid. So we look at his 4th overall pick. You're going to have some good players there.
Shady
will be there.
DeMarco Murray.
DeMarcus. And that's not right. Yeah, DeMarco Murray will probably be there. Yeah. I have a hard time.
We'll have some definitely good running backs.
Who has pick 2 and 3? Isn't that the same person?
Yeah, douchebag.
Oh, douchebag has it. All right. So he already said in the last podcast, I believe, Robin said that he was, Zeke's not going to fall to you. I don't know why everyone's freaking out thinking that I'm not going to take Zeke. I'm taking Zeke. I don't care. As long as he's suspended less than 4 games, I am taking Ezekiel Elliott.
So what if he's suspended 5 games?
I kind of have a little secret for that one.
Do you have a line? Like, what's your line?
Well, my line is 4 games.
4 games.
So if it's
5 games, you take?
Well, that's the interesting thing. I actually have a trade worked out with someone else in the league. And if he's suspended more than 5 games, then the trade goes through and we do the trade. And if it's less than 5 games, then I draft Zeke.
Wow. You are hearing it right here.
Yes, first. I have told literally no one. This is the first time Patrick's even hearing about it. Yeah. I did not tell him before we came on the air.
Breaking news. Do I have like a breaking news?
Okay, he's going to look up breaking news sounds because that's what Patrick does. But yes, that is actually true. I have a deal done with another team in the league. I'm not sure if he or she is comfortable with me saying the whereabouts of the trade, so I'm going to leave that person. Oh my God.
We're following breaking news right here on the Dynasty podcast. Scott has reached an agreement with an anonymous, unnamed person where if Ezekiel Elliott were to be suspended 5 or more games, the number 1 overall pick would be traded. You are hearing it on the Dynasty podcast here first. No, don't, no.
It's going to autoplay to something else. Press pause. We don't care.
But it's Brian Look how fat Brian Windhorst is. Oh my gosh.
Okay. So yes, that is
Back
true.
To reality.
Like I said, I'm not sure if the person is the man or woman is comfortable with me.
It's Keezer, isn't it?
I'm not gonna say.
It's Keezer. Scott made that face that like, damn it, he got me.
Okay,
he made that damn it, he got me.
I will promise you it's not Keezer.
Oh, okay.
But it might be Keezer. But it also might not be. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm going through my Slack because I don't remember who I made the trade with. But I remember liking the trade.
We're following breaking news. God. The unnamed source was just revealed to be Matt Keezer.
So I don't want to... Okay, it's not Keezer.
It's not...
No, don't... I'm going to turn your computer off. Stop. No. Stop.
It's gonna play.
Oh my God.
It's probably not even catching this.
Okay, so I just saw who the trade was for, so I reminded myself. Okay, so yeah, the male or female I made the trade with, I'm not sure.
Brianne.
It's stop. I'm not sure.
She's not active on Slack, so
I'm not sure. I actually did have a discussion with her about a week ago about a trade, but it fell through. So I'm not sure if this person is comfortable with me sharing the ins and outs of the trade or that they made the trade, so I'm not going to say who and what it's for yet. But the deal is that if Zeke gets suspended more than 3 games, so it's
really
4 or more.
Wow. I've just done so much incorrect reporting in the last 2 minutes.
If it's 4 or more games, then I have agreed to a trade to trade down in the draft. And if it is 3 or less, then I take Zeke. So that's kind of... I'm very confident. I'm very confident it'll be... I think it'll be 2 games max, probably 1 game, so I'm not really worried about it. But I have a fallback if the trade doesn't go...
It's interesting. My guess is it's Robin.
He's just going to keep guessing till I tell him.
Well,
I'm not going to tell him.
if Robin made the trade, then he'll give you his number 3 pick for the number 1 overall pick. So
why would I just do the number 3 for the number 1?
Well, there's obviously going to be more things in the trade. But then Robin would still have his plan of taking Antonio Brown and...
Well, this person would take Zeke
Julio
with the number
Jones.
1.
Really?
That's what they told me.
Well, then it's not Robin.
They said they would trade up to take the number 1, to take Ezekiel Elliott?
Could it be Elliott?
I don't know. Actually, I might have just lied. They might not have said that. This is really bad reporting.
How many times am I going to play the breaking news thing?
Okay, so they didn't clarify or specify who they were going to take.
So my guess is Robin.
But that is the trade that is currently in place. Like I said, more than 3 games. So 4+ games. 4 games is included. If it's 3 or less, then I keep it, and I'm still taking Zeke.
Sounds very interesting.
Like I said, I'm 99% sure that it'll be 1 or 2 games tops, so I'm not really looking too much into this trade. It was just a safety net for me. The person approached me, and I thought if Zeke gets hurt, there's really no clear number 1, so I figured it was probably a safety net to have.
One more thing about Elliott's team before we move on. He is keeping J.J. Nelson in the 15th round, which is a low-risk, high-reward.
Yeah, yes. He could have a breakout year or he could be nothing, but it's a 15th round pick, so who really cares? You just cut him week 2 if he's not cutting it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Carson Palmer is going to generate, especially with 5 receivers to throw to.
That's
but
huge
since return
toss-up.
Yards are being counted in the league...
Can you remind me of the exact stat
I think
for
it's
that?
1 point for 40 yards, so that might help J.J. Nelson's...
I hope that now that
value.
the rule is in place that we can get it to him more, because I feel like that's still a little far-fetched.
So something like 1 point per 25.
I would say 20 or 25 is where I would want it. It's kind of like the college football playoff. They got to a playoff finally, which is a step in the right direction, but it should be 6 teams.
I would even take 5 teams.
We finally have this rule in place, which is good because it's been needed and it has deserved to be a rule.
Incremental reform.
Right, exactly. So hopefully next offseason we can have a revote, maybe try and knock it down. It's probably still a year or 2 out from the rest of the league being welcome to it, but we'll take what we can get.
Interesting that Elliott pushed that rule change through, and it's completely self-serving because he has J.J. Nelson.
Ooh.
Moving on. Hot take. Actually, that was just a
hot
sassy
take.
remark.
Yeah, it was kind of just a call out, honestly. But
all right, moving on. Belching Beavers.
okay, this team really interests me because of me.
Because you made the trade.
Honestly, yeah. So Belching Beavers. We'll get more into the trade when we get to my team, and I'll kind of talk about my mindset through it all when I made the trade. But basically, Belching Beavers is loaded in the first 3 rounds.
And in the draft in general, he has the strongest draft by far.
Yeah, in your equation, he had the highest number or lowest number.
Yeah,
correct. And
It's half as
golf.
much as second place.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like golf, lowest number. And he had half as much as the second lowest?
He had, his number was 359, second place was 549.
Wow.
The average was 600.
So Belgian Beavers has some high picks, and coming off that 3-11 season, not too many keepers, not too many people he can keep. So he's gonna have. If he hits the target on these draft picks, he could be a really dominant force, and especially with Clitoris Maximus is most likely. You got to give her a little bit of a chance, but there's a pretty good chance she has a pretty big drop off this year after buying all in last year. So the division's going to be a little bit weaker for Marcos to make a splash. Possibly. He might just replace Clitoris Maximus, I guess, and the rankings would stay the same. But, based on his draft, if he hits home runs on even half those picks, he could have a really good year.
He has Tyrod Taylor keepable for 13th, which is very good.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
Darren Sproles for a 10? Do you do it because of return yards now?
Well, he could do that, but he could also do Tavon Austin for a 12, which is good for return yards.
Yeah, true.
He has Pierre Garçon for a 15, which could be
really
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a steal right there.
And then, other than that, Doug Baldwin for an 8. That's definitely...
Mariota for a 7? That's right on the border. That's right on the border.
But because he has Tyrod Taylor, he might not want to spend a 7.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah, Belching Beavers, he will have to hit on his draft picks, which doesn't always happen in this league especially.
He's looking really good, though. The definitely pre-draft analysis is he's fixing to have a really good season.
He will be a challenger.
Definitely.
Moving on. So this is fascinating. Our next team just doesn't have a name.
Oh, wait. Oh, that's supposed to be a joke?
Oh, I get it. The team name
has
is
no name.
A team has no. Who is the funny guy who did this? Is this Matt
We'll never
Hughes?
know because they
Do
don't have
they
a name.
not have a name? Maybe none of his players have names either.
Oh, yeah.
And he just sucks this year like he usually does. But
Except for a fluke last season. Hashtag down with divisions. Okay.
oh, yeah. Didn't he collude with Joe?
Yeah, it was a
He,
total
traded
collusion
for
move.
all of Joe's players.
Total colluding.
But then the stipulation was that he didn't start those players.
Huge collusion happening. Huge.
Collusion. So
we get into the worst team name in the league by far because it's not funny at all, and somehow it's a 5-year-old joke. Tom Brady in the 9, easy keep.
Definitely. Jarvis
easy.
Landry in the 10, that's a keep.
Easy. Britt for a 15, it really intrigues me. I think he's going to have a good year. I think he's going to have a bounce back.
But he has Brock Osweiler throwing to him.
I know. But for a 15th rounder, that's the same thing as Elliott. It's a very low risk, high reward.
That's true. He also has Gillisley, who was just picked up by the Patriots.
Can someone explain to me the whole Le'Veon Bell crap with this team? Does he
I
have
think he's
him?
owned by Keyser.
Okay, so Keyser keeps him for a 3rd, not him.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay. So that was part of the colluding bullshit?
That was a different trade that wasn't vetoed, but the one before it was vetoed. But the one after it wasn't vetoed.
When my trade was vetoed?
Yes, your trade was vetoed.
Which is complete bullshit because I wasn't eliminated yet, that one?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I understand now.
But since we live in Michigan, like, the time zones made it so that you were eliminated by, like, 7 o'clock.
No,
but
they
in California,
us.
I don't... Devontae Freeman for a 4th, that's definitely a doable one.
Yeah, that's easy.
That's an RB1.
Delaney Walker for a 3? That seems a little high.
Yeah, but this
He
team...
should keep Greg Olsen for a 1st rounder.
Watkins is definitely not.
So not a great keeper list, but Brady, Landry, and he'll probably end up keeping Britt would be my guess.
Looking at draft strength, he is average.
Right in the middle.
He's in 4th in draft strength, but he's basically tied with Robin, you, Tahir, and it's basically a 4-way tie for 4th because the numbers are so close.
So slightly above average.
Yeah.
All right, that's not a bad draft. He'll have to. That's one of those things where when you have that position, you'll have to hit a home run. But I mean, you could say that about any team, I guess. So.
Yeah.
All right, so pretty.
He is a soccer fan, so I'll give him a projected mid-table finish.
All right. Yeah, I mean, if you looking at every aspect of his team right now, I'd say you can't be super excited about any of his keepers besides Brady, but he's gonna have to do well in his draft. Yeah.
Moving on to douchebag Robin.
So we're at Robin here. Probably the worst president the league has ever had.
Thank God it's Joe's reign now.
Yeah, it's about damn time.
We'll have a bone to pick with him later.
Yeah.
But for now, we look at his team, and he has Derek Carr keepable for a 7th round.
Easy.
He actually, before we do...
He actually entered his keepers, right.
Because what a great strategy. Make known to everybody your keepers before...
2 months before everyone else knows their keepers.
Yeah, that way you can just...
Last season.
I don't know, what's this one?
Oh, okay, never mind.
Well, this is hilarious. Tevin Coleman is being kept in the 5th round by Robin.
10th pick in the 5th round. Tevin Coleman, is he even a starter?
No, Devontae Freeman is.
So a backup is being kept in the 5th. Can you imagine drafting a backup in
a
the 5th
low
round?
reward backup handcuff in the 5th round.
That seems a little high.
By
a little, I mean probably 5 rounds.
Maybe he should have taken more time to decide his keepers. And maybe he wouldn't have kept Tevin Coleman.
Waited like every other person.
In the 5th round. Now, he doesn't necessarily redeem himself, but Derek Carr in the 7th is nice.
That's an extremely good value.
He is a... Would you call him a top 5 quarterback?
I was actually... that's funny you asked that. I was talking about top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL earlier, and I think I had him at 6.
6?
Yep. So just the
He's a
outside
top 6
looking in.
quarterback.
Yeah,
But yeah,
he's a top 6.
but next year he'll be keepable for 5th, and he'll probably be a top 5 by then.
Yeah, you got to imagine one of the old guys that are at top will diminish, like maybe a Drew Brees.
Yeah, definitely. Then he's keeping Devontae Adams in round 9.
That's probably a safe. Like, he's not going to break the bank, but for a 9th rounder, it's probably a safe keep.
Yeah, that's about accurate to where Devontae.
Yeah,
Adams
you could
is
probably not draft him or not keep him and draft him in that round. So
staying with the backup running back pattern, C.J. Anderson in the 10th.
What in the hell?
So is he just going to have backup running backs?
Yeah, a ton of backup. And then he said that he's going to take 2 wide receivers with his 2nd and 3rd pick in the 1st round.
Okay, well.
So what is his running back strategy? Oh, Latavius Murray in the 11th.
Hope 7 running backs get injured week 1 and they all just happen to be who you're handcuffing?
Apparently. Latavius Murray in the 11th is great value, though. He's now the guy in Minnesota, pretty much the guy in the entire offense. They don't have a great receiver, a great quarterback, or another great running back besides him. So he's pretty much going to step in, and they're going to run the same plays they ran for AP, but it's going to be Latavius Murray. So
yeah, we'll see. But
that's good.
The Vikings might be a really bad team next year.
Yeah, they're really a toss-up. I think they're either going to win 10 games or lose 10 games. They're really...
We'll see what Teddy Bridgewater is like.
He won't be ready.
Yeah.
He might not even play this whole season still, that you were saying.
He's a toss-up. And then they have Jordan Matthews. He's also keeping Jordan Matthews in the 11th.
Okay, that's not bad value either, I guess.
No, especially now that Giant Chip is gone.
Yeah. Fatty Chip. Potato Chip. Potato Chip Kelly is now gone, so maybe the offense can actually function. Not run the C-home offense.
C-home is our high school.
They were a joke.
Here's their strategy. Run it up the middle, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th down.
Yeah, that's literally what they did. It was really
They ran it. Oh, they didn't end around that one game.
Well, then the one time they threw the ball all season was a 40-yard touchdown. So then they thought, okay, we're going to go out on top and never do it again.
Yeah. All right, Kevin White in the 13th.
Chicago. 13th is...
We'll see. He might not even be ready. He's always injured. It's a low-risk, high-reward keeper.
I do like his 14th, not Hunter Henry. Yeah, okay. Yes, Hunter Henry. But also CJ Procise. I like both of his 14th round keepers.
Yeah, sticking with backup running back and CJ Procise.
Yeah, but I don't know.
But he does have
like
third
he's
down
gonna
value.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get a lot more touches than the other guys he's kept.
Yeah, Kevin White's still an interesting one. Do you think he can be successful this year?
I think
with Mike Trubisky, Mike Glennon. I don't even know how that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know why they traded up when they literally could have got him where they were at. So someone in that front office should be fired. But I think he'll have a good year, especially now that Alshon's gone, correct?
Yeah, he's with Philly.
Yeah, so I think, if anyone was to succeed, it would be Kevin White at this point. So I think it's a good keep, especially in the 13th. I think you have to keep him. I don't think you really have a choice. No matter how bad the Bears are, it's still a starting wide receiver in the 13th.
All right, moving on from stupid.
Do we have a prediction for him, standing wise?
Let's see what division he's in.
He's in the He-Man Woman Haters Club. Last season was a rough year,
yeah,
but he has the 2nd and 3rd pick this year. When you have the 2 and 3 pick in any draft, that could be a huge difference maker.
But will he finish in front of Marcos with Marcos's draft, and will he finish in front of Joe?
I don't think he has the keepers, but that is me saying that is me banking on Marcos having a good draft and hitting home runs on all of his early picks. I think Joe is still the team to beat. His keepers, we'll get into him later. His keepers are ridiculous. He has a good draft value. He's just a dominant force in the league every year. So anytime you have Joe in your division, and the fact that, we still have freaking divisions after what fucking happened last year, he might just be the odd man out. He might somehow go 9-5 or 8-6 and miss the playoffs because divisions are fucking stupid.
Yeah,
anyway,
he has to be careful because if he finishes 4-10 again, he finished 4-10 last year.
He will not be president for that long.
He could really fall in the Good Elliott rankings.
His reign is over.
Up next, the person who's not podcasting tonight, it's Pete Livingston.
Yeah, so we'll kind of give you a non-completely biased bullshit response to his team, because that's what he always gives us. So, we look at his squad here. Alshon Jeffrey for a 9, I think you have to.
Yep, that's definitely gonna be a great pick for him. We'll see if he's still on the same roster by the end of the year.
True.
Alshon Jeffrey.
Now, he tried to trade me Julian Edelman and Mark Ingram.
For what?
For Joseph Ajay. Somehow that was an equal trade. I don't know how that's an equal trade at all, but somehow
Julian Edelman, he got in a fight today.
It was Edelman. I don't see Mark Ingram on his roster though. Maybe it was one of those weird clause bullshit things that
where he actually has
collusion thing.
Team. So Edelman's actually a good keeper in the 8th.
Yeah, that's a decent keeper. I think that's what he was hoping I would see in the trade value for him, but I don't want Julian Edelman. I don't want...
Jai's a lot better.
Yeah. Just because 2 guys add up to the point value that one guy has doesn't mean that's a fair trade, because I'm getting it in 1 roster spot, not 2. It did not make sense to me, but maybe he sees something that I don't. I'm going to regret it. So
we'll see. Pete finished 4-10 last year, so I'm not quite sure if his vision is much better than yours.
Yeah, I don't. He has always kind of struggled in fantasy football.
We can't get too critical, or else he won't air this.
Oh, he'll air this. Damn well he'll air this.
Yeah, this is a second take.
Yeah, we're not wasting 2 hours of our time. You're fucking airing this shit.
Tyler Lockett in the 13th, that's a fantastic year.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
He's on the pup list, but I don't care. He's going to be a return man. He's going to be a great part of that offense. Great speed, matching up with Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Also, almost said Russell Westbrook.
Better than Steph Curry.
He really is.
He
really
averaged
is
a
better than
freaking
Steph
triple-double, so you can't even argue.
He is the best point guard in the league by far. Obviously, he's the MVP.
It's not even close.
They should be making arguments about him being better than LeBron, not freaking Kevin Durant being better.
Yeah, that's a joke, by the way. Yeah, okay, so not listed on here. I think he might still be on my roster as Ajay.
Yeah.
Is he still on my roster in here? Yeah, he is. Yes. Okay, so
keepable for a 5th.
Yeah, so you have to add that on. That's a great keeper value. Obviously, he thought it was good enough to.
So he's got a wide receiver
2 second
one.
Round picks for him.
He's got a wide receiver 1, an RB 1. He has his Paul Perkins. He's starting for the Giants. Mm-hmm. He's keepable for a 10th.
It's a great value.
That's an RB 2. He has
pretty good keepers.
Yeah, he has Bilal Powell, which he's like a
borderline RB2.
Well, he's never started a full season.
Yeah.
And he's playing for the Jets. So we'll see.
Elliott will probably take him in the 3rd if he doesn't keep him. So
yeah, with Jeffrey, Edelman, Perkins, and Ajayi, that's a great team to build around, to use a draft to build around.
Yeah, and he has pretty good draft number, doesn't he? Or was he the really bad one?
Pete is what's his team name? Fighting Sponges. He's the 3rd worst.
Okay, so after he gave me those 2 second round picks for Ajay, he really fell off, I'm assuming. That's kind of the kicker.
But he's not too far off from the big lump in the middle.
Okay. So, kind of a slightly below average draft positioning. So he'll definitely... He has good keepers, though. So
yeah, the keepers really make up for what he lacks in draft strength.
Right. If he can hit a home run on the few draft picks he has, or the higher draft picks that he has, he could really make a splash in this league. And that's what he was trying to do with the Ajay trade. That's what he said on the podcast. He said he just wants a dominant go-to guy, and hopefully he gets that NHI and maybe what he uses for his first round. Or he doesn't have a first rounder, does he?
I thought he did.
I think that's Robin's pick.
Oh.
I'm like 90% sure that Robin has 2 firsts because of Pete. Because when I was trying to trade, when him and I were doing trade talks, I remember saying I'll give you a Jai for a first, I believe. No, you're the one without a first. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, he'll have to make a splash in his early draft picks. And if he can do that, he could be really good this year with his keepers that he has. He could definitely make a huge splash, especially in. I mean, we obviously can't assume that the division will be that bad a second year in a row just because it was so awful last year. But, I mean, if it's even close to that bad, I mean, you have to think that he's the favorite to run away with the division.
Did this just run out of battery?
It didn't give you a warning.
No.
Do you have any projections for Pete? It's really
hot take. He wins the division.
Yeah, I don't think that's that hot of a take. I think considering how much the division struggled. Yeah, go for it. Considering how
his division
bad the division struggled last year, and how none of them really, besides him, are looking that great for this year.
Elliot and Tim have the worst drafts by far.
Yeah, so
I mean, it's kind of Marcos above everybody with a great draft. Then it's Keezer, Joe with good drafts. Everybody else is right in the middle. Then Elliot and Tim with pretty bad drafts.
Right, and sorry, Tim Jimin is literally the middle team, right in the middle. So, so he's... I mean, if he hits a home run, obviously you can say that about an A team, like I said, but based on last year... I don't know. I feel like Pete's definitely maybe not necessarily the favorite, just because he's struggled the last couple of years, but definitely the favorite dark horse, I guess you could say. The guy that you look at that's been struggling, but could really make a splash this year and turn things around very easily, really. Next, do you remember?
Next is my team, actually.
Oh, okay. So we have Pat here, obviously, so we can talk about his team. You feel comfortable talking about who you're going to keep and whatnot?
Well, I don't have that many keepers.
Okay.
Or draft picks. I gave up both to try to win last year. And I did.
So who did you trade your first round pick to? Was that Robin then?
Traded it to Pete.
And then Pete traded his to Robin.
Yes.
So that's how that worked.
No, I traded my first round to here.
And then to here? How did Robin get 2 picks?
Ugh, I have no idea.
Was that
it was out of battery. That's really stupid.
That is weird. And then how does Brienne have picks in the top of the draft? Didn't she get Zeke?
She has a first round, but I don't think she has a second round.
Okay.
She traded the second round on Marcos.
So we look at the Houston Oilers here. 9-5 last season. So how are you 9-5 but finished below me when I go 8-6?
Division record.
Division record means more than overall record?
Mm-hmm. In terms of winning divisions?
So, but wild card is just overall.
Yes.
So wild card has nothing to do with division record.
Correct.
Okay. So you were only 1 game away from the wild card, but I went 2-4 in the division and you went 3-3. And you scored more points than me. How are you below? And Braggadocious went 2-4 and you scored more points than him. So how the hell are you 8th? But I'm 5th and 7th. Or I'm 5th and Braggadocious 1+1 is 7th.
You know what? I have no idea.
Someone's going to have to explain this to me. Whoever listened to this podcast, just when you get to this part, hop on Slack and please explain to me how Patrick can have a better win-loss record, better divisional record. Obviously, that means he has a higher winning percentage, more points for, and be behind two people who were worse than him in all of those stats I just named.
Maybe it's just Yahoo being
It might just that's very valid. It might just be Yahoo fucking up and being stupid. But this says you finished 8th and I finished 5th. This says I was the best team to miss the playoffs and you were.
Yeah, that is some weird shit. But looking past that, so
Yes, we go into your team. So keepers, take us through your keepers and who you're thinking.
So I have Malcolm Mitchell, keepable for a 15th.
That's probably smart.
Low risk, meh-ish reward.
Yeah.
He has to compete with Edelman and Gronk and Brandon Cooks for catches, and whoever the hell the running back is. So we'll see. He definitely won't get 1,000 yards, that's for sure.
Right.
But
no.
he could be, we were talking about earlier, he's a perfect guy to be on a rebuilding team.
Right. Hashtag Tigers. Even they fucked it up.
I traded Jimmy Graham. He's keepable for a 6th.
You traded for him or traded him away?
Traded him away.
So I know you love to have clauses in your trade. Is he ever going to be on your team ever again, or is he gone for good?
He's gone for good.
Okay.
Because he won't be worth a 4th round pick in 2 years. Then I have Cameron Meredith, who is keepable for a 15th.
That's a must. It's a must.
But I traded him to Keyser for this year, and I get him back next year.
Okay, so that's a pretty safe trade. If he turns out to be a big name and really stands out, then you get him back. And...
I think that's a plus for me, because I don't need him next year because I'm not going to compete since I don't have a 1st or 2nd round pick. And he is a low risk, or high risk, high reward player.
Yeah, definitely.
And... so if he doesn't turn out next year, I don't get burned by him not turning out.
Right.
Instead, Keyser does, which is a plus. And
always a plus.
And then I don't have to worry about him ever again. But if he does turn out, then I get him next year.
Right. You get him when you're possibly a contending team.
Right. So that works out for me. Then after that, there's nobody really keepable. Dallas defense, keepable for a 14th. That'll be worth it.
I would say keep Kaepernick, but oh wait, he's not on an NFL roster.
Yeah, because he has opinions about various things that are important to him.
Yeah. If you have an opinion about
like
something in the world, you aren't allowed to do what you love for a living. And if you grow your hair out, apparently, according to professional athletes, if you have long hair, you automatically have a step down in the world. You can't do. I have to shave my head.
Yeah,
I have that Kaepernick hair going
right now.
It needs to stop. I need to shave it, or else I'm just hosed for corporate America. It's going to eat me up.
Yeah, poor Colin Kaepernick.
Man, aren't we
he
such
just
millennials?
Doesn't understand the world. Yeah, after that is nobody. Dwayne Washington.
Yeah, I don't really see anyone. So you have no picks and no keepers. That's a rough go.
But I'm gonna get Ezekiel Elliott next year, so I'll have the number
hot
one
take.
pick.
Really? You think you're going to have the pick ahead of Clitoris Maximus? Brienne is not looking good either.
Oh, I will make sure I'm last in this league. I might not make an impression on this league by winning, but I will do some pretty crazy tanking, pretty crazy trades with people.
A lot of clauses.
Over under 2.5 trades vetoed.
By just you?
Just
or
me.
overall?
Just me.
Ooh. I'm going to say under because I'm going to say 2.
2 trades? What if I set the push at 2? Over under?
Then I would take the even. I would push. I'm not,
Is that how betting works? I've never bet before.
I think it's going to be 2. If you set it at 2, well, the reason they pick half numbers is because then you can't take the push.
But sometimes they do it even.
If you set it at 2, I would take the under only because I think it would be absurd to get 3 trades vetoed in one season.
That's going to be my goal.
You heard it here first. He wants three trades.
The problem is, and I tried to do a crazy trade with Keyser earlier, but he didn't even want to try because he knew it was going to get vetoed.
That really tells you something when Keyser thinks that a trade's going to get vetoed and it's too crazy to try. That's when you know.
Oh, and I had it all planned out, and he was just too pussy to pull the trigger.
Ooh, call out. I love that rivalry, by the way. I just want to say...
A rivalry that developed in a Yahoo Fantasy Football chat room, because here's the full story. I asked a question about the rules. Elliot answered it, and then Keyser just typed in nerd into the response, and I thought it was directed at me. So I kind of made some comment.
I remember this. We were sitting in English class when this happened. Him and I
This was like 4 years ago.
No, this was straight up freshman year.
In high school.
Yeah. And we were sitting next to each other in English. We were like, what the hell is he talking about?
And then I was like, I'm a nerd. And so I made some ridiculously long comment
classic
about how
Patrick rant.
I was nice enough to ask Elliot about the rules, and somehow my team was also better. And it just developed into this ridiculously long argument with comedy trash jokes.
And then he changed his team name to Braggadocious 1+1, and now that is the only game I would consider probably a true, like, we throw around rivalry because Elliot wants there to be rivalries, which I can, it's fun when there's rivalries, but the only true rivalry I really see is, I guess there's a couple. I mean, obviously when the Livingston brothers play, that's an automatic. Everybody is checking that score, even, just because that's fun to see which brother goes on top. Because that's a big deal every year. And then you and Keyser. I think everyone in the league checks when you two play against each other. Everyone looks to see who's going to win that game.
I think Keyser and I are like Michigan, Ohio State. And then like every other rivalry is just like North Carolina, Wake Forest.
Right.
Like no one gives a crap.
Well, I think the Livingston brothers is probably like Michigan, Michigan State, and then you and Keyser is Michigan, Ohio State.
Yeah.
And then everything else is kind of mushed into one.
Yeah,
you and everyone wants that to be a rivalry.
It's not much of a rivalry.
It's only a rivalry because it's
divisions.
Division, geographical location.
Yeah.
Like we can... I mean, now that we're in school, we can't even see each other in person during the game. So, like, it even takes a step. And then everyone's like, oh, Elliot released the stat this week that you and I are exactly 500 when playing each other, and they tried to hype up the rivalry again. It's just not a rivalry. Mostly because, like Elliot said,
it's like the Chicago White Sox and the Chicago Cubs. Like everyone wants that to be a rivalry,
right? And the reason that it's not is if you look. Elliot was explaining to me that we've never...
You crushed me
we've
first
never
2
split
years.
a season. Yeah, we don't... like, it's not like every other. It's the first 2 years, I was a really good team in the league. I made it to the championship once and made it to the playoffs the second year, and then you were not that good the first 2 years. And then the last 2 years, it's been the opposite.
Yeah. We do that in fantasy baseball too. It's just fun how that always works.
Yeah, I know. We're never good at the same time. Except last year, I guess in football, 9-5 and 8-6,
and this year in baseball.
And then this year in baseball, we're both fighting for that first spot in the really shitty division that we should not be in the race for, but we are. So
the Mattel is a nice rivalry with Matt Hughes and Matt Keyser.
Yeah,
just because of their names.
Yeah,
I don't think anything others. We also just like to beat up on Matt H.
That's true.
Because, I mean, he doesn't even name his team.
Yeah.
Like, how do you just let your team go?
He thinks it's funny.
Oh, wait a minute. That's the team name.
He thinks it's funny.
Oh, it caught me again.
He thinks it's funny.
Marcos and Brienne are a rivalry.
I don't think it really is.
I mean, if they were married, like Scott and I thought.
We legit thought they were married for the first until last week. So, okay, that's a slight exaggeration. It was a couple of months ago.
We still like to pretend they're married.
It legit was less than 6 months ago, I think we found out. So, the only other two teams I always look at, it's not a rivalry really, but I always look at what Joe is doing, and I always look at what Robin is doing. Mm-hmm. Now, last year, Robin was so bad that I stopped that after week 4. But Joe, literally in every single year since I joined this league, I always look and see what Joe's doing because he has been a dominant force in the league every single year since I have joined the league.
Yeah, he has a great model. He has a great business model of acquiring talent early and then having their keeper value. And then also at the same time, making sure that no rules changes get past obstructionism.
Right, exactly. I mean, he makes sure...
Because he's successful at how the league is now.
Right.
So if the league changes,
he's afraid
that's just against his... Yeah. So it's...
Which, I mean, you can't really blame him, but you could blame him.
I mean, we get it. You vote no. You don't have to keep typing it into the Slack chat like it's funny the first time.
It's kind of like naming your team a team with no name. It's not funny.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't just keep, like, shoving it down our throats.
Yeah. It's just not funny.
Like... Whatever.
Couldn't
think of a poor taste joke fast enough. And then there's kind of the rivalry with Elliot and Pete because Pete kind of knocked him out of the playoffs last year.
Yeah, I feel like that was a one season. Like the first matchup the next season was a rivalry because it was the first time they had met since. But I think that it goes away, especially with Pete's lack of success last season and really both of their. I mean. I wasn't going to say Elliott because he finished second in the division, but he was 6-8, and the division winner went 500.
Yeah, we'll see how that.
Last place in the Bad Sports Puns division would have won the Gedalia division by a whole game.
Hashtag.
Okay, so quick prediction for you. Where do you see yourself? And then I'll say where I see you.
Last.
Okay, record?
Oh, and how many games?
Okay, wow.
14?
So he is literally trying to not win a single game.
I'm not.
That's
I want the first round pick next
incredible.
year.
Wow.
If I win a game, I'd consider that a failure.
Wow.
It means I didn't take part enough.
So
it means I didn't.
Patrick is straight up saying that he hopes he does not win a game this year.
That's my goal.
But what if after the draft you win week 1, maybe like in baseball, you have made the playoffs. Like I said,
if I win a game, it's a failure.
Okay, but in fantasy,
I likely will not start a player the whole season.
You're gonna get in trouble for that.
Come at me, bitch.
Okay, so this is a little extreme. I think maybe we have to, I don't know, like double his pay for the entry of the league or something, because this kid is clearly on some next level shit right now.
I don't have a first round pick.
I was gonna put you at 3 wins, which is still probably good enough for last. But I think you're gonna be fighting with Brienne the whole year for that last place spot.
Well, let's see. Worst record last year was 3 wins.
Yeah.
So if I do unfortunately win 3 games, I could still get the number 1 pick.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Brianna, like I said, we'll get to her.
But also, Le'Veon Bell is returning to the keeper pool next year, so having the second pick might not be bad.
Yeah.
Or draft pool, not the keeper pool.
Right. So we'll see how I had you at 3 or 4 wins, which is definitely not good. So, but
don't worry, I don't take offense to that.
I know you don't. I don't really care if you did. But yeah, I'd probably see you as a bottom 2 team, unless maybe you have a home run draft. But from right now,
if I do, I'm trading everybody.
Okay, so even if he has a great draft, he still does not want to win for some reason.
If I have a great draft, it's going to be with great 3rd round picks, and you can't win a league unless you have great 1st round picks.
There's been 3rd round picks that have ended up being 1st round picks the next year, though.
Yeah, but I don't even have a 2nd round pick to back them up, or any keepers.
All right, so on to Nimbly Bimbly. Who the fuck is this?
Joe.
Oh, right.
His team name is another one that's completely unintelligible.
Makes no sense at all. So Joe, I think for probably the 3rd year in a row, he has to be the favorite to win it all. What's his draft number?
I believe he is number 2.
He is the 2nd best?
Nope, he is number 3.
Okay, so not only, we're going to go through his keepers here in a minute, not only does he have a ridiculous keeper core, absolutely insane all the way through, but he also, based on numbers, has the 3rd best draft positioning in the entire league. I mean, easy favorite, I think. Way too early prediction. I think Joe has to be the favorite.
I think it's close enough between him and Keyser.
Do you really think Keyser's going to have that good of a year?
We'll see. He's managed away his team before.
It is true. He does tend to overthink a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't see how you can pick anyone besides Joe right off the bat. Maybe I'm missing something. I haven't looked at Keyser's team yet, so when we look at there, maybe I'll see what you're seeing. But I think Joe has to be the early favorite, or one of the early favorites.
Yeah, Wilson. He has Russell Wilson Keeble for 11th. That's definitely yes. That's great.
The best value in the entire league. Odell for 11. That's
He's had him for
absurd.
3 years. That's a wide receiver 1.
He's gonna have him
11th round.
Do you think of the average lifespan of an NFL wide receiver? He might have him his whole career. He might literally have Odell Beckham from rookie year until maybe not the year he retires, but his demise when he's not a relevant pick anymore.
He might finish out his prime, definitely.
Right.
He has Hyde for a 3rd.
Well, now with the new report that San Francisco wants to shake everything up and possibly cut Carlos Hyde, which I think is absurd.
I did not see that report, but hilarious.
Yeah, I sent it to the Slack, I think.
Oh. I might have missed it.
It's absolutely ridiculous how you can think that cutting him makes any sense at all.
Because they pick him up.
I just don't understand. They're like, yeah, we want to shake things up, blah, blah, blah. We want to cut Carlos Hyde, apparently. I don't...
And Joe is keeping Todd Gurley in the 1st.
Is he? Is that official?
Yeah, because he took a late pick. So I think that is
right. He took the late pick. Oh gosh, here's my drunk videos. Fucking hell, that's embarrassing. LeGarrette
Blunt for a 6th.
Here's me smoking a huge cigar. That thing probably tasted great. I just can't remember the night. I'm still finding the report, so keep going.
He has Thomas Rawls for a 12th. That's another RB1. So Gurley and Rawls, that's his RBs. He has Beckham. He has Stephon Diggs.
For what?
A 12th. Diggs is not somebody...
Here it is. 49ers Carlos Hyde could be surprise cut at training camps. New ownership and management want to shake things up.
So, question marks there. But Hyde could end up being a good flex for him.
I mean, he's still the only
player on the team. But it looks like his only question is RB2. Or, wide receiver 2. But, I mean, that's what the draft is for.
Right, exactly.
Seems like every other question is answered. So, yeah, not much more to say. He's just going to have another successful team.
Even his keepers alone could probably take him to 500. Nonetheless, if he hits a home run on his 3rd highest draft rating going into the draft, I mean, if he hits a home run there, it's just going to be another... We're going to have to sit through... He's like the Yankees. We're going to have to sit through another fucking year of Joe being good.
Yeah, we'll see. He probably is the team to beat.
Yeah. Definitely
the favorite in his division.
Yeah, his division's looking a lot weaker. Well, actually, I don't know. You could argue Marcos. You could argue it's looking stronger with Robin with 2 first-rounders, Marcos with his amazing draft. I mean, Brienne will fall off, but the other 2 teams that were bad last year could contend. So yeah, that division actually might be a 3-team race instead of just a 2-team race like last year.
All right, next team is you, free AP.
All right, free AP. Still should happen. So obviously Mike Evans for a 2nd. I'm definitely going to do that.
So you have your first 2 rounds set because you have Ezekiel Elliott presumably in the first. And then Mike Evans in the 2nd.
I mean, I'll take that as my first 2 picks all day. Joseph Agiai is not on my team. I was traded for Zeke. So
Jeremy Hill in the 5th?
Yeah, I'll probably pull the trigger on that one. Just because... Well, I've kept him forever. He's been on my team for like 3 or 4 years in a row now. But more importantly, with that running back situation so up in the air, he's going to get his touches probably on the goal line still. And
I think he could be maybe a decent flex option at best. I don't think he's fixing to have a great... It's more of a safety net pick. I don't think he's going to break out and have a huge season. I think he's probably on the decline from considering where he was at, but it's borderline for sure. But it'll probably be a safety net pick for me. Just a guaranteed decent RB2.
I remember scouts hated him coming out of the draft.
Yeah, I know. I hated him coming out of the draft. I was a Bengals fan.
But he'll be nice right next to Zeke. That'll be a nice running back core.
Yeah, it could
and
be.
then with Riddick in the flex,
Riddick for a 13. Yeah, definitely we'll keep him considering
he's such a great part of the passing game with Jim Bob Cooter running that.
Yeah, and considering Abdullah's health still always being in question, I feel like Riddick could be a good, especially for a 13th round. That's the biggest part.
Will you keep Ted Ginn?
Now that return yards are now part of the league, I feel like I definitely am going to consider it. I haven't made up my mind yet. I've been going back and forth about it for a while, actually. But, I mean, he's one of the most feared returners in the league. So I feel like now that we have that rule in place, that gives me more incentive to keep him for sure.
Yeah, definitely. He'll be a nice... I don't think he's some
flex.
He'll be a bye-week flex.
Yeah,
bye-week wide receiver 3 if needed.
Probably.
Then you have Cole Beasley. I'm not sure if he's going to be...
Yeah, I'd have to read on him. I don't know if he's even going to be relevant this year.
I'm not even sure who Tyrell Williams is. Dak Prescott is great. You're going to have him for a 15. He's your quarterback.
That's
Alfred Blue is a nobody.
And then the 49ers defense?
Well, I mean, how many more people retired from their team this year?
True.
I mean,
so what's your prediction for me, outside looking in? Number 1 pick in that keeper pool.
I think you could be
wild card. If you're fixing on Keys or having good as a year as you think, then
you're probably a favorite for the wild card. You, Marcos,
yeah.
You, Marcos, and then nobody from the Roger Goodelliott's getting the wild card. So I think you, Marcos, and I don't know, maybe if Matthews
or Robin.
Yeah, Robin.
With the 2 and 3 pick.
But yeah, you could also climb over Keezer if Keezer gets too cute with his managing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even trying to be a dick at this point. It's just true. Like, he does do that sometimes.
Happened.
So
there is.
I'm not even trying to be like call anybody out. I have the entire podcast, but now I'm being genuine. Like it just has happened before, and so it's something we need to look out for, or he needs to look out for, I guess.
Coming up next, Tim. Tim has the worst draft based on draft strength.
Worst draft. Oh, we didn't talk about my trade.
Oh yeah, let's talk about your trade before we get into Tim's terrible team.
Really quick summary. So I traded Pete, Joseph Ajay for 2 second-rounders. And I gave him my 4th and my 9th, I want to say. 4th, and that sounds right. 4th and 9th for Joseph Ajay for 2 seconds. Then I turned right around and gave Marcos... I had 3 second-rounders now, but I needed one of them to keep Mike Evans. So I turned around and I gave him 2 of my second-rounders for the 4th and 9th pick that I just gave up. And so I have 1 pick in every round. I think I'm the only team that has 1 pick in every round. And I basically just traded... Oh, I also traded on my number 6 pick, obviously.
Yeah.
So my number 6 overall in 2 seconds for the number 1 overall pick. I probably wouldn't have done it if I knew about all the allegations swirling in, but I'm still glad I did it because, like I said, I don't think it'll be more than 2 games. So they basically just traded Joseph Ajay and the 6th overall pick for the number 1 overall pick because
which is a great trade.
The picks I did evened out. So that's basically what I gave up and what I got in return.
And you definitely got a great gain in that, and so did Marcos, which is rare in this league.
Yeah, Marcos and I, honestly...
you both benefited. greatly.
We
from the
both
deal.
had huge pluses on that. It doesn't happen too often. Usually, trade rape and stuff is thrown out, and I think this is one of the few times that in fantasy football both teams benefited hugely. I think I definitely not necessarily took advantage, but got the better end of the deal in the Pete deal. But he obviously sees something in Ajay that I don't.
Ajayi's turning into the next Alshon Jeffrey. He's been on a lot of teams.
Yeah, and I personally don't see
A lot of fantasy teams.
I don't see how he could be worth 2 second-round picks. That's a ridiculously high price, but I told him I would trade him for nothing else, and you can go back and listen to the episode. He literally did it live on air. So, but hey, he thinks that Ajay could be a difference maker for his team, and I mean, I got Zeke out of it, so
yeah.
I'm happy. And I think all 3 of the teams that I traded with, well, the other 2 teams and myself, all are really happy with the deals they made. So
Moving on to Yo Soy Fiesta.
this team's a fucking joke.
All right, well, he does have David Johnson keepable for a 7th.
No, I was kind of kidding. He actually has a pretty decent keeper pool.
Number 1 player keepable for a 7th. That's definitely one of the best in the league.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously you have to, the one that screams out, he's right at the top, Matt Ryan for a 15.
Yeah, this is great. Matt Ryan, then David Johnson, Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
Not totally confident Jordan Howard can replicate anything he did last year, but he's still a great RB2, and he has Jeremy Langford as handcuff.
Does he take Hopkins for a 3?
No.
They don't have a quarterback.
DeAndre Hopkins is good. Well, Deshaun Watson. But
yeah. True.
I don't know. Hopkins is so iffy.
Martellus Bennett for a 7. Now with Aaron Rodgers at QB, that might be worth it. Fix the tight end problem in the 7th.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about drafting a tight end.
Previously, he said he would take Gronk if he was available in the first
True. Yeah, but he's 2 tight end Tim, so he would not.
You mean Tam? Tight end? Never mind. Just edit that out, Pete. That wasn't funny.
2 tight end Tim. Yeah,
2 tight end Tim.
So I think
it's not quite 2 tight end to here, but it's still.
No, true.
If you didn't catch what I was trying to do, I was trying to spell TEIM, having tight end in there. Didn't quite track, but
it was
that's
not
what editing's
funny.
for, right?
Kind of like everyone's team name.
Oh, Jalen Richard. Jalen Richard.
Richard, I think.
Richard?
I'm pretty sure it's Richard. It's
Richard.
just spelled Richard. I'm pretty sure it's Richard. Okay, it's not that important. Langford for a 13? Take the handcuff in the 13th?
It's probably worth it. He also has Corey Coleman for a 4th.
Yeah.
So that might happen.
So he's a pretty good keeper pool, honestly. Where does he stand in the draft? Does he have the worst?
Yeah, he does have the worst.
By a lot, right?
Yeah,
That's
but I mean,
significant.
But since he does have an RB1 and an RB2 all set,
and a top 3 quarterback in the league, fantasy-wise last year at least.
He could definitely challenge for the top of that division.
Because it's complete shit.
Yeah, it will definitely be him and Pete competing for the division, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see where he finishes, whether his strategy of good keepers but no picks pays off, because Marcos is doing the exact opposite. He has no keepers and great picks. So it'll be interesting to see out of those 2 teams taking completely different philosophies, which one has the better year.
All right, moving on to Tahir. Is it even worth going through his team? Tahir doesn't listen to the podcast.
What, does he really not?
I don't know. He's kind of an idiot.
You heard it here first. Tahir is an idiot. Do not play the breaking news song. I swear to fucking you son of a bitch.
Dynasty Football Podcast reporting right now, Tahir is stupid.
Please turn that off. I don't even think the computer's picking it up.
I really hope it does. If it didn't, then the last thing we did before is just going to be just nonsensical. But he does have Josh Gordon keepable for a 13th, which is completely worthless. But it's worth mentioning because this is Tahir. Let's see. He does have Capri Bibbs, keepable for a 15.
Why are you saying?
If you're continuing in this worthless...
Say his valuable keepers. Josh Gordon for a 13.
I like how Yahoo still
He
says he's
rostered
suspended.
Josh Gordon, guys. He rostered Josh Gordon.
To hear why. He has Tyreek Hill, that's good.
The only keeper I can see him actually doing is Tyreek Hill for the 15 and Phillip Rivers for an 8.
Marvin Jones for an 11.
That's borderline.
Willie Snead for a 13. So he has 2 wide receiver 2 or 3s.
A QB1 and nothing else.
Moving on.
Wait, what's his draft? He's right in the middle, right? I think he's literally the
right in the
middlemost
middle
team.
of the road. Yeah.
Yeah,
This is funny. On a scale of 1 to 736, which is last place, there were 3 teams, 601, 602, 603, and 613, which is just really funny how close that turned out to be.
So he
Considering
has
the big numbers.
He has. It's not looking bright for him. He's definitely gonna have to hit some home runs on draft night because.
But instead of choosing the 3rd overall pick, he decided to take the wraparound in 12.
Yeah, that's. I don't know. He's made some questionable moves this last season, during the season and off season. Really makes you scratch your head.
I mean, if he nails it, then great.
More power to him, but I don't.
He probably won't, and he'll probably
but his
finish
team
5-9 again.
Right, and that's
He
the
is
thing.
shithead, too.
His team isn't bad enough to get a top 3 pick, probably, considering how bad of a season you and Brienne are fixing to have. But it's not nearly good enough to make the playoffs. So
No, not even close.
it's going to be a weird time for him. He's going to have to.
We'll see what he does with the wraparound, but
He's going to have to either completely sell or hit a home run on that wraparound.
we'll move on. Joe and Robin roast doing pretty good on that. One of the last podcasts,
Yeah, true.
so
Very true.
we'll spare it to hear what.
Okay,
whatever
so
we have
this
there.
next one is Keyser. You think he's the only other person in the league that pre-draft predictions could challenge Joe?
Yeah, he has Cameron Meredith, he's a wide receiver 2. He adds John Brown, Josh
Keenan Allen for a
Dodson,
9 if he can stay healthy.
Allen Robinson, that's the other one I was looking for.
Yeah,
So,
that's a big one. Allen Robinson for a 7.
and I get him back after next year, too.
Okay. So Allen Robinson in a 7. Ben Roethlisberger for an 8. Josh Brown for a 9.
Fatty
Doxson
Kelvin
for an
Benjamin for a 4.
Keenan Allen for a 9. He has a lot of pretty good keepers.
Yeah, and he has a lot of them, too. Melvin Gordon for a 1st. Because
He did that, right?
Yeah, he has the number 12 pick in the 1st.
Right,
so he will be
right.
taking-
So
keep
that
it
makes
Melvin
sense.
Gordon.
That's smart. And then what's his draft ranking?
He is the 2nd highest.
Okay, so he has good keepers and a pretty high draft ranking. That's why you think he's going to have a good year?
Yeah.
Okay.
He is probably going to challenge for the wild card, if not win the division.
Yeah. Based on what we've seen so far, it's looking like you'll probably finish last. Assuming everything goes right with my draft and Keyser's draft, him and I will be battling for the division lead and or wild card, and then Matt Hughes we're thinking is just going to have a middle of the road season.
Yeah, he's
a solid 7-7 year-ish, give or take a win.
7-7.
So the division will not probably, obviously we don't know the future, but probably will not be as dominant as it was last year, with every person finishing over 500.
Yeah.
And 3 teams finishing over 500 and none of them making the playoffs.
Clitoris Maximus is our final team.
Yeah, and it's only suiting that this is our final. Besides,
Not much going on here. Dante Moncrief,
It
I don't
is-
even know if he's starting.
It is
and,
not looking good for Brienne. She's going to have to really shock some people and hit a lot of home runs on draft night. If
She might keep a Cleveland running back. She has both.
Kyle Rudolph for a 15, probably.
She is
Crowell.
right in the middle of the table.
Okay, so she doesn't have a great draft either.
We'll see what she can do.
She-
does
you know
have
what?
She
You
does
gotta
have a
give her-
first round pick at least.
Yeah, you got to give her credit. She went all in last year.
unfortunately for her, she went all in last year, didn't win the title, and now is hosed this year with not very many picks.
She did win money though, coming in second.
Yeah. What do you win? Do you win
way.
your entry fee back, or is that third?
No, you do. I think you win twice the entry fee.
Yeah, and then third is entry fee, or is third nothing?
Third, not quite sure. I don't think third is anything.
Yeah, it is in mine. I don't think it is in this one.
Yeah.
So she did win some money, but obviously did not get the hardware. She went all in. You got to give her credit, but because she went all in last year, it's just not looking great for this season. I think you definitely, considering how big of steps the other three teams took this offseason, I think you have to predict her at the bottom dweller for not only the division, but unfortunately, most likely the league. But we'll see. I mean, crazier shit's happened. In baseball, You had no picks in the first 10 rounds and then almost made the playoffs. So
that was a fun year.
It was a
Salvador Perez was my best player.
Yeah. So, okay, so who do you think, title prediction?
I say Nimbly Bimbly beats Keezer in the championship.
Okay.
Joe beats Keezer in the championship.
Yeah, I could see, I definitely, you already know I roster bait to Joe's roster all the time. I mean, his roster's insane. I think
and then you'll beat Pete in the consolation round. That's my prediction.
Okay. I mean, I could definitely see. Obviously, I think Joe's going to win it all. I hope to make a run at the division, but Keezer's got a pretty good returning team. The Gedalia division, I think he's going to go from worst to first.
Yeah. Because
the other three teams in that division did not do anything overwhelmingly great. So
I think Tim just made his team worse in the offseason. That's just like flat out like
it was not good.
He got fleeced by Keezer in like 6 trades.
Oh yeah, it was ugly. Do you have a dark horse team that maybe we're all overlooking that you think could take a huge shot at maybe a wild card? Or are you just going to say your predictions are pretty much what you think is going to happen?
I say maybe Pete or Tim, possibly both, can make the playoffs.
Wow, okay. You think Tim,
mm-hmm.
even though we kind of dogged on him.
Yeah.
What about his team?
Well, he has David Johnson and Jordan Howard, and when you have a running back core as strong as that going into the draft, that's something you can work around. I
think we're really overlooking Robin. He's in a really good division, which kind of hurts him. But I think that anytime you have the number 2 and 3 pick in the draft, it would be very hard for him to miss on those.
Yeah.
Especially with the wide receiver core he will most likely have going into week 1. I think we're really overlooking because he went 4-10 last year and all that. I think we're overlooking how good he could really be. And then maybe you hope one of those shitty RB2 keepers has a breakout year and turns out that's what he's probably going to have to
Who knows?
bank
Maybe
on.
Tevin Coleman gets traded to the Lions and starts.
Yeah, who knows? Elliott? What do you see?
Elliott,
our commissioner.
He's probably mid-table again.
6-8.
Yeah, 6-8 is
probably the same.
Accurate. He's very good at managing, though. He might be able to manage his team higher.
Fair. What team do you think is really overrated going into the year, and everyone's thinking is going to have a good year, and it's going to just fall on their face?
I would say Matt Hughes.
Yeah? Just because his team name is so awful, or?
Well, I mean, he just flat out doesn't have one. I mean,
no, he does have one. You're not understanding.
Wait a minute. Oh, I see. That's his actual team name.
We're just gonna beat this dead horse to the ground because it's so ridiculous. Beat it like
Adrian Peterson's child.
Except free him. So, if I had to pick one, I would say Marcos.
Marcos is overrated.
Yeah. And here's why.
Because he never manages as a team.
Okay, no. The reason I think he's slightly overrated. Everyone's really thinking he's going to have a great year because of all these high picks.
Mm-hmm.
What is the one round that everybody fucks up on?
Second round.
And what does he have the most picks in?
Second round.
Exactly. So
he has the most.
He's gonna have.
So while he has the strongest draft, it's certainly the most volatile.
Exactly. He definitely has the biggest potential to bust.
Just completely crap all
Right.
over himself.
Exactly. Exactly.
Fun scene.
So
yeah.
I think that while he does have really a bunch of really high picks, the fact that they're second rounders and not first rounders, I don't know. I just feel
this
like
is going to be a crazy.
he's going to have to do his homework. He's going to have to do his research for sure. The second round will be insane this year, and I don't even have to worry about it because I'm keeping Mike Evans for the second. So
I don't even have a second round pick.
So you don't have to worry about it either.
Yeah, but yeah, it's going to be crazy with Marshawn Lynch.
Oh yeah, that's going to be around then probably.
Oh
yeah, what's your hot take on
Marshawn
the NFL?
Lynch? Hot take: he does not get over 10 points any week.
Really? You
No.
think he's going to do that badly?
Yeah, it's Arian Foster. Did it work out for him coming back? No, it
True.
did not. Percy Harvin, different position. I get it. Didn't happen.
Yeah,
Who
you're not
else?
wrong. Jahavid Best.
Okay.
My hot take.
Jamal Charles.
No, true. Never really worked. When he was healthy, though, man. that guy
Comeback
could
stories
ball.
don't work in the NFL like
No,
they do
it's
in
too rigorous.
baseball or
Too rigorous.
it just doesn't happen. It's not going to happen for Marshawn Lynch. And then you have all these rookies: Christian McCaffrey, who
No.
doesn't have a position;
Right?
Joe Mixon, who's just gonna
That's
be
my new hot take.
He's just going to be Giovanni Bernard.
So my hot take is that no Cincinnati Bengals running back is worth even being rostered this season.
From the man who said he's keeping Jeremy Hill.
Yep.
Yeah, that's. But here's my thing
That's
about
my
Joe
hot take.
Mixon is they're going to suspend Ezekiel Elliott,
Right.
but Joe Mixon's on video just flat out slugging a woman.
Yeah.
Where's the suspension for him? Where's the prison time for him?
I don't know, dude. Goodell is claiming that because it didn't happen while he was in the NFL, it's not his problem.
Oh, gotcha.
So my hot take, back to that. The reason I say that is because Marvin Lewis is a fucking joke of a head
He
coach. And he has mismanaged this team for the last decade. How he has been the team's head coach for 10 years now baffles me. But I just think he's gonna, whoever has the hot hand is gonna start, and nobody's gonna have a hot hand for more than a game. So I think it becomes so much of a toss-up going into every game that by week 7 or 8, people will just say, "Fuck it, I've had enough of this." And
A lot of running back situations look like it's going to turn out that way.
yeah. Well, you look at Carolina's
Yeah.
too, because we don't know what the hell position McCaffrey even plays.
Yeah, so McCaffrey, Lynch. Another thing about Mixon is he's filling the Giovanni Bernard role. First of all, Bernard's still on that team.
Yeah.
Second of all, was he ever even worth a second round pick?
At no point in his career was he worth a second round pick.
So it's fascinating that Mixon is a projected second rounder in this league. And then you also have Fournette. And you also have...
Yeah, that's another thing. There's a lot of rookies that are going to be taken high.
Yeah, so
Because
keeper value is going to be at a premium.
Right, because our league is so shallow that a lot of rookies are going to be taken. Early and not going to be able to be kept for the next year, and they're just going to get washed right back in. They're going to have same thing that happened to what's
Ezekiel
his face?
Elliott.
Well, Elliott. I was thinking Amir Abdullah, but yeah, same thing. Just
Abdullah's another second rounder. And
Yeah. You know who's a third rounder somehow in Elliott's logic? Shane Vereen. How was that ever a good idea? I took Toby Gerhardt in the second, though.
I took Joseph Randall.
And I'm really lucky that no one
He
has...
stole underwear from a Macy's.
He did.
I'm really lucky that no one has called me out on taking Toby Gerhart in the second round, but
You should
it was
never
just
take
like
a white running back in the second round.
it was just forgotten. Yeah, true. Remember when Peyton Hillis was good for 5 minutes? Madden cover. Peyton Hillis was
Wasn't
on the
Tom
cover
Brady
of
on the Madden cover?
Madden. Yeah.
Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs.
Madden curse. Is it real?
Is it real? Well,
Hot take. Not really that hot. This is Ben Roethlisberger's last season in the NFL.
yeah, I agree with that.
It's not that hot. It's kind of a
It's a
mellow take.
lukewarm take.
Yeah. It's like you walk outside, you're like, I might need a long sleeve t-shirt, but I don't need a sweatshirt. That kind of a take.
Yeah, it's like you turn on the faucet and it's like, I can wash my hands to this, but it's not soothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a take.
That's the take that I just gave.
Yeah.
Any other hot takes, not on football, but on specifically fantasy? Anybody's team, a keeper, a player, anything?
Let's see. Joe Mixon is the new Shane Vereen.
Wow.
Whoever
so you think
takes
he's gonna
him
a
will be
huge
mocked
bust?
for years to come.
Okay, that's a hell of a take. Hell of a hot take. Because he's pretty high up there.
Yeah. I just don't understand him.
My hot take is Leonard Fournette is a bust.
Yeah, he's kind of a...
Only because he took such, injuries, whatever. He
only good for like 10 minutes?
He was good for...
And then he was kind of just like...
He was good
an
for
average
half a
SEC
season.
running back.
He was good for half a season 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
And then his last year in college, very underwhelming. Got taken high in the draft because scouts were saying that, he didn't have a good O-line. Whenever he goes to a team with a good O-line.
Ooh, ESPN did an E60 on him.
Right. So, the kid's a beast. He's strong as hell. There's no denying that. But I don't think he's fast enough to be an NFL running back.
It's also like that Gatorade commercial. Like, there are plenty of strong people. You just have to take an extra step. And
Yeah. I don't think Fournette's the guy to take the extra step. I really don't. Anything else before we before we wrap
looks
this
like we've
puppy
hit the
out?
hour-and-a-half mark.
Yeah, well, I'm sure a lot of it will be edited out. We had a lot of blank
Running
time.
upstairs
This
to
will
get the
probably
charger.
be included out.
Yeah,
Because,
can't
we're
imagine
just
they
talking
keep
about
this.
nothing right now. So, that's going to do it for the Detroit edition of your fantasy football podcast.
This is...
No, stop. Don't. I'm going to turn it off. I'm turning it off. I will. I turned it off so we don't have to listen to that
off my
again.
computer.
So we don't have to listen to that crap again. I'm Scott.
Ride that unicorn, my friend.
Oh, we're gonna play it again. Here, I'll play the real one for the ending, so that you can compare the begining and end.
We'll have to imitate it along.
Yeah, we'll just.
And
Moves were made. Hands
were shook. Money exchanged, possibly drugs.
Possibly cocaine.
But it was all good.
It was all good. Somehow that's good. I don't know why that's good.
Welcome to this.
Like I said,
Then we all see things differently because we're not the same person. Put it on the shirt.
We're working like that.
Judge. Why is this funny? Judge.
I realized how bad I'd be at someone else for doing that. So,
Judge.
we all are very intrigued and very interested in what will happen this year.
Judge.
it's been...
Okay.
They should refresh that.
Yeah,
Now that they have our voices on the podcast.
Yeah, we
they
should be on there.
Yeah.
I demand that we're on there. Are we ahead of Pete in the Gedeliot rankings? Can we make him do that?
I am, because I'm third.
Okay.
So, yep, Pete.
You heard it here
Speaker of
first.
the House, Pat. I guess that would put me if I'm third.
Yep.
I order you to refresh the
Intro. Yep. And put our names on it.
Our voices.
Yep. Voices. That's what I mean. Voices. Yeah.
Our names. You just say
Scott Pat. Okay, so that's going to do it. Those are our hot takes and bold predictions. And
And a little
Trash
comedy
talk
trash mocking of
here
various
and
people.
there, especially douchebag.
Robin.
Remember last year? Can you add that clip in here, Pete? Can you just have the clip of us just when you interviewed us and you just saying, so what part of the league would you change? Just as in unison, Robin. That was really funny. That's going to do it.
Goodbye.
And I'm going to crush all of you.
Detroit,
From
Michigan.
Detroit.